This woman is a heavy traveler. She had in a former line of work, which was at McKinsey, she was a platinum traveler on all airlines. Eat that. That's a lot. And she didn't. She changed passports all the time, like I change newspaper every day, because the pages were full with stamps, so she had to get a new one. And she's a heavy user, you could say, of all the services represented in this room. So I would say is a pretty relevant speaker in that sense. But in spite of this, she likes to travel in her spare time as well. So this is a traveler, I'll tell you. Her name is Gloria Macías, and she's from Microsoft, Head of Enterprise Commercial. Please, Gloria, where are you? Hi there. And I forgot to say, you used to be, like I said, with McKinsey for 15 years, where you worked with transformational and cultural change, and was leader of the McKinsey Learning Hub. But now, again, head of enterprise commercial at Microsoft. Exciting. Stage is yours. Please.
Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you, Lars, and also thank you, everybody, for bearing with me today here after Terry's presentation. We're here to talk about innovation, and I think one of the things about innovation and technology, after the amazing examples that we saw just now, is that we typically tend to overestimate the impact of technology in the short term and underestimate it in the long term. And this is not my making. This is actually Amara's law, which I found very, very interesting. So when we think about innovation and technology applied to the tourism and hospitality industry, there are many things that are already happening right now, even without us actually using it. So let's see a video.
Make a dinner reservation, somewhere we can sit at a chef's table, have cocktails and birthday cake.
So I know it seems super girlish, but being the only female speaker, I couldn't resist it. Now, beyond that, how many of you have booked any trip like this with your friends? Some of you. I would say I personally have used some of those services, but I have never booked end-to-end a flight or a trip with my friends like that. And this is what it's all about. Technology is here, but the key challenge is adoption. How do we adopt and create this type of experiences for the customers? Because we like it or not, the customers are actually going much, much faster than we are. However, when we think about the impact of technology in the tourism and in the hospitality industry, we can look at it in two different sides. So one side is, we are creating an oversupply situation. If you think about, the impact of things like Airbnb and all the transparency we are providing, technology is commoditizing the market because, access to information is much more common and customers can get access to much more information. And we're also much more exposed because when something goes well, some customers talk about it, but when something goes wrong, customers do talk about it. So we are much more exposed. There's hyper competition. Competition is not coming from the traditional competitors that we used to have, but with digitization and technology, the boundaries between the industry is blurring, and we don't know where the competition is actually coming from, whether it's physical, online, or even people which have no assets. The consumer is evolving. They want much more. They know much more. They are much more sophisticated. And we're competing much more in price because it's much more difficult to convey the impact of all the experiences that we're giving to our customers when we are getting down to the transparency of the prices. And we're losing part of the bargaining power because it's going much more to the consumer or to the big companies that are creating this transparency. So this is one side of the impact that technology is having in the hospitality industry. However, I'd like to look at it on another side. And I couldn't resist going back to some of the work that I did when I was at McKinsey, where we tried to see what was the potential for value creation that data and artificial intelligence and all the new experiences that could be created could generate for the different industries. So identify use cases and try to put a number behind it. And obviously you could say, these numbers are very inflated or not. But what really matters, it's the relative value. So we came up with the conclusion that for travel and hospitality, these would be the industries that would be most benefited from all the digital and technology advancements that were happening. So I actually have a very optimistic view about the impact of technology in this industry. And how are we going to achieve this, or how is the industry going to be able to create all of this value, whether the numbers are right or wrong? It's a very, very large number. I think we're going to get that through creating new and better experiences and more personalized experiences for the customers. From the very beginning, from even when they're thinking about what's going to be their next trip, to at the end, what is it that they're going to post, how are they going to revisit the trip, how they're going to share the trip with their friends. And there are many things that we can do in here. I think we already saw many of those in Terry's presentation. We already saw some of those in the video that we had earlier. But I think there are many more. For example, I'm typically get to hotels, I'm always on the phone talking with a different time zone. So I actually hate to go through reception. What I really like is, some of the hotel chains I go to, because I'm also a gold member in those chains or a platinum member in those chains, they know my profile. And even from the very beginning, I can already, as Terry said, I don't need to go through reception. I can go directly to my room and I can check in with my phone and enter my room. And the room is already ready for me. So that's actually a service that I value. Another service that I value is, when and this happened to me recently. My flight was late. I had put the information of my flight into my hotel reservation. So I got a message saying, we know your flight has been late. By the time you arrive, it's going to be very late. The restaurant is going to be closed. They know I always order a Caesar salad. So do you want us to order a Caesar salad for you so that it's ready when you arrive? So that's the type of service that I value, and that makes me come back. And I think there are many services like this that we can offer to our customers to create those experiences and make them return to us beyond the commodity of the prices. We'll talk about many more examples. One of the things that I would also like to mention here is the value of technology also for all the backup operations or back-end operations. One of the things that surprised me the most when I joined Microsoft recently was we actually don't have a controlling department. I was used to work with customers that have armies of controllers working in finance, trying to control everything. Here, everything is done either by robotics, process automation, or machine learning. And and this is something that our CFO talks about. Even our forecast to the market quarterly, it's been done by machine learning, and we've basically she demonstrated quarter after quarter that was better than an army of people doing it. So I do believe that the business processes need to be the ones leading the change, because otherwise they become the stoppers. So very important to make sure we don't forget this part of the business when we're trying to do this transformation. And all of these are things that we could do right now. But as I said at the beginning, I think we are underestimating the impact that this will have in the future. So when we put, for example, mixed reality into all of this, how would I, tell my friends the trip that I did? Or how would I revisit the pictures with my family? Or how would I prepare the itinerary when I'm preparing the trip? I think, we can't even imagine now how all of this is going to happen, because I think we are underestimating it. But a lot of this is reality today, and the problem is how we adopt it faster. Let's maybe go into detail in some of these examples. So one is, the customers now are always connected. They are always on. They want to have all of their contacts or all of their lists in the same device. So why don't we provide this for them in the room? It's relatively easy. So, all of the services that we can give for them in one room, and not only to make this easier for them, but also to collect information from them so that the next time that they come, we can be proactive in offering them what to do. Like, my hotel offers me the Caesar salad. Other examples, it's getting sensors to make sure that the rooms or the restaurants or the elevators are working as they should work. One of our customers that has given us permission to talk about our experience with them is Starbucks. So Starbucks has a relatively very simple business, and I would say, a business that most of hotels have more or less the same type of operations. They have, a coffee machine. They have all the inventory, fridges, etc. One of the things that Starbucks did was they put 25 sensors in each one of their American stores. And just by doing that, they've made the calculation that just by saving 2 breakdowns per year, they are paying all of the investment that they have done. And they can provide a much better service to the customers as well, because they link this to an app where the customers can pre-order when they are going to arrive. I'm pretty sure many of you have used this in the past. So that's just one example. The other one is very similar to the facial recognition that Terry was talking about. So how can you propose specific experiences to the customers depending on who they are? So you recognize them, and based on who they are, you decide to offer them a cultural visit or an adventure visit, or just some type of event or performance or theater. And this is again something that it's already happening. I think at the end of the day, a lot of this also depends on how we're able to transform our employees. And I would not say transform, but rather unleash their potential, make their life much easier so that they can dedicate their time to better service the customers. And there are a lot of collaboration and a lot of productivity tools that, again, already exist today, and you can use them, to foster and unleash this potential. One that I like especially is, one that we were working for with a cruise line, where you have the bot that analyzes there has been a problem in a sensor. The bot basically gives this message into a team chat, and the entire process of what is the problem, what needs to be done, who is available to do it, who is going to do it, it's immediately triggered. So with no human intervention and no need for real coordination and calls between some people, the problem is already being solved, which basically devotes a much better service for the customer, but also much more efficient operations for people. So I think we will see many examples during the day. I didn't want to bother you with all of the examples, but again, I think technology is here, and what we really need to do is adopt it. So what's Microsoft's approach to this? I think, what we're aiming at is helping you, enabling you to capture all of this potential, all of this value that we saw at the beginning, transforming the entire operations. This is not just about let's transform the way we communicate with customer. This is not just about let's transform, how we manage our bookings. It's not about one thing or another. The value is really created when you are able to connect all of these dots and, from the front end to the back end, get all of this connected. And in order to do that, we know our mission, and we are a technology company. We are not trying to know more than you do about your business, and we are by any means trying to teach you how to do your business better. What we do is we work through thousands of partners to help them deliver solutions for you, so that at the end of the day, it will really create this tech intensity where everybody is moving into the technology world and creating an ecosystem that fosters this improvement in the operation and in the value. And just by doing this, by us being in the center of creating this entire ecosystem, we believe we can deliver that value to you. And basically, how do we choose these partners, or where are we looking for partners? We look for partners that can help us on these 4 axes, because these are the ones that we believe will help transform the industry. The first one is, on engaging the customers. How can we have a better understanding of what the customers want? What is their sentiment? What are they talking about? What are they posting? And give you information about that in a way that enables you to react. The second one is empower our employees. So unleashing their creativity for a better service with the customer. The third one is optimize the operations. Everything we talked about sensors, but also trying to eliminate all the waste, better demand prediction, better even for inventories, etc. And then transform products. Move away from saying I'm selling a room or a night to I'm actually selling an experience. Like it was for me, from getting the message. We know your flight is late, you're probably tired, you don't even need to get through reception, you can go straight to your room and you already have your dinner ready. That's actually an experience. So by doing all of this, we believe you can create the value I was talking about at the beginning and basically help us on deliver our mission, which is, Microsoft really believes that our role is to empower, every person and every organization to try to achieve more. Thank you very much.
Yes, there was 6 twists and shouts there. That was very good. No. Thank you very much. Super clear and interesting. And I have some interesting questions for you. Are you ready? Are you sitting down? No, I'm just kidding.
Can I skip the question?
What competitors are Microsoft seeing in the travel tech segment? Which are your competitors?
I think it depends how you define the word competitors. Mm-hmm. So I think, I tend to believe we're actually attackers in most of the places we're working at. Mm-hmm. So if you think about, cloud, for example, we're making huge investments in cloud, but we are by no means the leaders in cloud yet. I think, the competitors is probably, like a lot of the speakers that are here, Alibaba, Google. But I'd like to think, we focus much more on, as I said, our mission. Mm. So, how we empower other people to achieve more. Not trying to, I would say, commoditize the market, but rather, working on trust and privacy. I think a lot of the things we've talked about is pretty much based on, the importance of data. And I think, consumers and companies are getting much more concerned about the privacy of this data and how to deal with the trust that we have from our customers on that.
Yeah, and that is actually a question. How about privacy with all those sensors around? So,
I think, at the end of the day, I would say, the company that has, in the technology world, most openly embraced GDPR, which is, the regulation that focuses on data privacy. I think the most important thing is, who gets access to the data and what data do you allow people to see? And that's what we develop all of our products with that in mind.
Okay, so you actively express this as a concern when you... Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any specific AI applications that you think will have more influence in the future?
Well, I think, with a lot of the examples we discussed were actually focused on already AI. When my hotel knows that I'm late and I want to get a Caesar salad, they are using AI to get any of that. When we looked at, the type of experiences that the advertising will give you based on recognizing who you are, it's also based on AI, not only to recognize who you are, but also what type of experience should I offer to you. I think, for the future, and again, I think we always underestimate the future. Most of the new AI developments will become about mixed reality. So how we will, consumers and will be looking for, and also we will providing experiences that put together the real world with an enhanced augmented reality.
Okay, thank you. And last question, a long one. Do you foresee any opportunities to access these smart hotels, integrations via APIs, or would every guest be required to have a Cortan Microsoft account?
No, I think it will not need to have a Microsoft account. I think this is just an example. Again, I believe that in the world that we live now, and I've talked a lot about ecosystems, I think, we live in an open world. And I think, trying to put, in Spanish we say barreras al campo, but, trying to put, walls into the countryside it's impossible. I think we believe in an open world.
I got two new questions, so you're not off the hook yet. No, so here we go. We are now trending topic in Majorca in this moment.
That's not a question.
You sneaked that in from the side, didn't you? Okay, the only information, yeah. And please continue using the hashtag Connex2019. So this is, as you say, my kids say, this is the shit on Majorca right now. Very nice. So now, can you give an example of optimizing operations at Microsoft that helps the tourism and hospitality industry?
You mean, and I know you don't have the owner of the question.
Yeah, I kind of mean, no, but
I'll take
let's explore it together.
Yeah, so I'll take the question like, not necessarily how Microsoft has optimized its operations, but rather, what type of solutions I've seen based on Microsoft technology that optimizes operations in the hospitality industry. Is that okay?
Okay. I'll go with that.
Okay. So I think, we talked about many of the examples. I do believe that, we really need to start with the business processes. And I think the examples I talked about in finance, in my previous work, I worked a lot with companies trying to do, digital transformations, this famous word agile and how to make companies more agile. And the one thing that all the agile teams were struggling with was with literally procurement and finance. So whenever they wanted to go into agile and, they had working in these Scrum teams and they had to buy something, they were, procurement had a process that would be, like 2 or 3 months to get this done. Or they wanted to staff people in a different way, they had, to go through human resources and, who owns this person and where is this person. So I think, quite often, for digital transformation, business processes needs to actually be at the forefront and don't think about themselves as we're the back end, but rather we need to be, I like the post pay, so we need to be the front end and be able to be the ones that do it. So I think, some of the processes I talked about, RPA for back-end processes, finance processes. I think a lot of that, there's a lot of Microsoft technology that can be used with our partners to optimize that.
Okay.
I think the other one is, for example, what I talked about is Starbucks. So, in all the hotels there are kitchens. How can you sensorize the kitchen to make sure that you maintain the things where they need to be maintained? How you can use these, for example, for inventory of food? How do you prevent the food from buying too much or too little? That's another way of optimizing operations, right? Another one is, whenever something breaks, the bot example that I talked about. So how this bot goes, identifies that there is a problem, understands who is available, sends the right person immediately, so the person gets their own, alert, you need to go there, and this is the type of thing you need to do. And you could even complicate this even much more. We've seen this being done with HoloLenses, where you send someone that doesn't know how to fix it, but they can connect to someone that it's an expert, that it's maybe even in another country, and they can solve the problem together. So I think those are examples of applying, technology to operations, which I think, helps also become more efficient and give better experiences to customers, because your air conditioning gets fixed faster. Even before you realize it was broken, it's already fixed. So at the end of the day, all of this reverts on the customer.
I must say, I truly appreciate this optimal answer to the question, optimizing operations. That was very good. I think Gloria deserves the twist and shout applause.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.